Entitles you to 20% off of merchandise that you purchase at Smith & Hawken out there at Eaton Collection in Woodmere. And what a valuable piece of a coupon that is, because Smith & Hawken has all kinds of tools for you to use in your garden.
In chairs and furniture.
Oh,
matter of fact,
yeah,
I think what we're
like
sitting
this,
at right here
yes, the
came
teak
from
chairs
Smith & Hawken.
yes.
And it's been great to be sitting here all day long. So the show's not over yet. We're making it sound as if it's not. It's just some thank yous are due right now for partners who've helped make this program possible. But the partner that Maureen and I want to talk to right now is you.
You know what? I'm going to tell you one thing before you do that, and that is we haven't also thanked Pond Supplies of Ohio.
Well, they were just here just a moment ago. You're right. And
yes.
all that wonderful, the water garden and the fish and all the things that were in the studio a moment ago. So, of course, we need to thank them also. Thank everybody for making this possible. But there's still a lot to come. Don't go away. More segments coming your way. What we need you to do right now, though, during this short intermission, is to take a moment to think about what you've seen already, to think about what you see on WVIZ PBS throughout the year, and then go to your telephone and say thank you for that, but with your pledge of support to really make it happen. Cast your vote, if you will, for quality programming here on your community television station, and that's what your pledge does. And we'll send you some great thank you gifts. If you're just tuning in, you're about 3 hours, a little over that, into a 4-hour program on gardening in northeastern Ohio, and we have a great thank you gift at the $60 level. It's the book that was put together that was made possible by compiling all the questions and answers, tips, and articles from the Cleveland Botanical Gardens newsletter that went to members over the past 20 years. So it's an invaluable resource guide.
Gardener's Guide to Northeast Ohio is really, what you see here now, you can't tell from what you're looking at on the screen right now, but it's going to be probably, what, a couple hundred pages, pretty close to it?
That should be, yes.
It's over 130 pages right now, and we haven't finished putting it together. So that's going to happen over the next few days so that we can get it out to you as quickly as possible, so you'll be able to use it at this time of year and be able to put together the great tips that are going to help you have a better garden and a better landscape in your whole yard. Here's a question. I have a hillside in my backyard that looks terrible right now, and it's eroding away with every rainfall. Ooh, this is a problem. A landscaper suggested planting a Russian olive tree to help hold the soil. What can you tell me about this tree? Well, the answer is you probably have seen Russian olive trees. I haven't heard of it. They are a silvery, bushy tree that are planted along the highways. It's a very tough plant withstanding drought, alkaline soils, and salty conditions. Its roots can fix nitrogen, so it's capable of growing in poor soil. Right. That sounds like a great solution.
And that's what this whole book is filled with, Maureen, is solutions. There's lots of questions, and one specific question might be asked, but it applies to a lot of different things when you actually look at the answer. So go to your telephone right now. Let's run through the stack again. I don't think we've done it. At the $60 level, you'll receive the gardening book, the one we just talked about. At the $90 level, you'll receive the home video of the Gardener's Guide to Northeastern Ohio. These are all of the professional segments that you've seen over the last 3 hours and will continue to see until the end of the program. That'll be put together into a very great video. You can also have a choice, if you'd rather, of the Cleveland Garden Handbook that Maureen and I have been talking about all day long. But we're encouraging you to do what many people are doing, is just going to the telephone and pledging at the $180 level, and we will send you the whole package, all 3 of the items. So get to your telephone right now and make the phones ring right here at WVIZ PBS. I think it's time to go back over to the Home and Garden Show and have another question from one of the people out there who are curious.
Hi, I'm Irene Strutz. How do I divide my daylilies?
I could have asked that question because I have that same issue. I have all kinds of beautiful yellow daylilies in my landscaping, and they are so big. They really need to be divided and moved around. Well, they can grow for many years without being divided. Mine are about 6 years old, and I've had them fertilized a lot, so that's contributed to my own issue right now. So when the plant appears crowded in the center and blooming diminishes, dividing will aid the vigor of the plant. Divide your plant in early spring or fall, so you can take either end of the seasons. Right. When the ground can be worked easily, lift the entire plant from the ground, shake the soil from the roots, and separate the plant into sections with 5 or 6 shoots. Plant each division 2 or 3 feet apart. I thought maybe I just needed to divide them in half. This tells me that I should actually divide it, depending on how big it is, into many so that there are 5 or 6 shoots in each one. And I think I'm going to have, I could probably propagate my neighborhood with
As we say, your
daylilies
house
right now.
and mine.
I think, yeah.
Well, but you know what? This is the kind of information that this show is, why this show is so important. It's bringing to you this wealth of things that you didn't know before, wealth of things that are very, very simple once you know the answer, things that you can have do around your home and have for a lifetime to help you in your garden. All that it takes is your move from wherever you are right now to your telephone to dial that number that's right there on the screen. One of our great friends from the Ford Motor Company will take your pledge of support, and all the things will come to you. You're going to give us your name, your address, your phone number, your credit card number, and which thank you gift you'd like to receive, and that's it. You're going to be a member of WVIZ PBS and one of the people here in Northeastern Ohio committed to making quality programming possible. It's simple, but we need you to make that phone call right now. And think about pledging at the $60 level. For that level, we'll send you the wonderful new book that we've put together with the Cleveland Botanical Garden on questions and answers and tips and articles. At the $90 level, you'll have your choice of the home video of the very program you're watching today. Now, it won't be Maureen and myself, otherwise it would be worth a lot more than this. It's only going to be the professional segments, the segments over there with Julie and Jeremy. That will come your way at the $90 level, or if you'd rather, Susan McClure's book, The Cleveland Garden Handbook. And this is a wonderful companion piece if you're a gardener in Northeastern Ohio to really help your garden grow. But we hope you'll just jump right to the $180 level, as so many people have today. It's a large gift to public television, but if you break it down, it's about 50 cents a day, round numbers, to keep quality programming on the air here in Northeastern Ohio. And 50 cents doesn't buy very much anymore. You kind of know if you can buy a candy bar with that, it seems like. So go to your telephone right now, invest that 50 cents a day in public television. We will promise you that we will not waste your time, we will not insult your intelligence, but we'll bring into your home the kinds of programs that you will find just incredibly fascinating. But to do it, you've got to go to your telephone right now.
And if you're wondering why we're asking you to do this, why are we asking you? Aren't there companies out there that give money to WVIZ PBS, or isn't there government that gives money to WVIZ PBS? Yes, that's true, but way more than half of the money that comes to fund this public television station comes from people just like you and others in the local community. It's the local community that supports WVIZ PBS, and that's important because that keeps the interest of what's happening on this television station right here in the community. And that's why we like to bring information to you that's relevant to you, that you can use every day in your life. You're curious about things, you want information, and WVIZ is where you turn.
Well, and you know, Maureen, when you talk about support, I know people see corporate logos and things on WVIZ PBS programs, and we thank those corporations and foundations for the support. But when you look at local support of WVIZ PBS, excuse me, 66%, two-thirds of the support comes right out of this community. It comes from people like you. One-third of it comes from corporations and foundations, but two-thirds comes when people like you put their support together. So get your telephone right now, make that $180 pledge. We're waiting to hear from you, but it's time to go back over and visit with Julie. So we're going to head back over to the garden side with Julie and Jeremy and their next guest.
Talk about pruning.
Well, Monty Clayton from Petiti Garden Centers joins us now to explain the do's and don'ts of pruning. Now, some folks think that the best time to prune is when you have a pair of pruning shears in your hand.
But Monty here is going to give us the edge on pruning.
I'm going to try.
So what's the basic? What's the first thing we need to know?
Well, first of all, the tree we're going to focus on today are the deciduous trees, meaning the trees lose their leaves in the winter. And here's an example. Here's the biggest mistake that people make, not cutting off at the branch collar. And I made a little red line there.
That's where you should be cutting off.
Correct. And what happens is a chemical process that occurs that keeps a decay from setting in. And here's an example of decay over here.
Here somebody didn't cut off
Correct.
At the branch collar. And what happened then to the tree?
It actually, a fungus got in there and invaded through that wound. It didn't allow it to form a callus. And over here is a perfect example of a callus.
So when you're pruning, you want the tree to eventually form a callus and look like this, and that's protecting it from insects and from disease?
Right. And one of the biggest things that people ask is, when did you prune? And the rule of thumb is when the tree is dormant. And you do it for a number of reasons. First, it's cold out, and some of the pathogens, like some of the bacteria, and some of the fungus aren't active to invade the wound. Mm-hmm. Second, it's less likely to bleed sap. Third, the insects are cold-blooded, and they're not going to be active, and it gives the wound a chance to compartmentalize before the insects are active again.
Now, talking about like the fungi and bacteria, how important is it to sterilize your
Oh,
your pruners?
absolutely. Before you go from one tree to another, and you can use a household disinfectant, you can use bleach and water, you can use rubbing alcohol. I'd probably suggest whatever you have, but do it. And people will say, well, I know that one of my trees, nothing's wrong with them. But I say, how do you know? Are you a botanist? Are you a horticulturist? How do you know that the tree you were just at didn't have a disease that you don't recognize and you're passing it on?
So it's just crucial that when you move from tree to
Absolutely.
tree, sterilize your equipment.
Absolutely.
What kind of equipment do you use?
Okay, you want a good saw. You want a good set of pruners. If we can step back here and get the pole pruner here, I'll let you get there.
Oh my. This looks like you really need to have some know-how
Yeah.
before you're using
let
this
Julie
one.
handle that.
Yeah, no, I don't think I'm at this point yet.
And it's got a combination where you can cut the branch or you can saw. And as Norm Abrams would say on the Yankee Workshop,